Welcome to the Deep Dive. We know the world moves incredibly fast, and, well, staying truly informed without getting totally swamped by information. It's a real challenge.
It really is. How do you cut through all that noise? How do you get to the core of what's actually happening globally and do it quickly?
Exactly. And that's what we're here for today. We've put together this deep dive just for you.
Yep, we've sifted through the key sources from the last, about 10 hours or so. As of July 26, 2025, the mission, unpack the top 10 global headlines.
We want to pull out those crucial bits of knowledge, those surprising insights, so you can feel genuinely up to speed, without the overwhelm.
And we've got quite a mix today.
Yeah, I was looking through it, everything from really high-stakes international diplomacy, stuff that could reshape things, all the way to, well, some pretty amazing moments in sports.
It's a real snapshot of what's moving the needle right now.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Where should we start?
Geopolitics. Let's do it. Kicking off with some high-stakes geopolitics. Global power dynamics, always shifting. And we saw a pretty direct confrontation at the UN recently.
Oh, yes, the U.S.-China clash.
Right. U.S. Ambassador Dorothy Shea, she directly called on China to stop supplying dual-use goods to Russia, specifically regarding Ukraine.
And just to clarify for everyone, dual use means items could be electronics components that have both civilian and crucially military applications.
Exactly. And China's response.
Immediate pushback, very public. They accused Washington of essentially blame shifting.
So not a quiet word behind the scenes.
No, not at all. This was out in the open, and it really highlights the ongoing geopolitical strain. It's a clear signal, a marker for where things stand between the major powers.
What's fascinating here is just how direct that confrontation was. And speaking of China, another big development, Premier Li Chang, he's calling for something pretty ambitious.
The AI Cooperation Organization.
That's the one. A new international framework. The stated goal is, apparently, to align AI development globally.
And critically, to stop the tech becoming exclusive, just held by a few countries.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. A proposal like this coming from China. What are the implications for global tech governance?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? On the surface, cooperation sounds good, but a proposal from China inevitably brings up questions. Things like data sovereignty, intellectual property rights. Will global standards align more with their state-driven approach or, a more open Western model?
So this could shape who leads in AI development, who sets the rules.
Potentially, yes. It could redefine how AI algorithms are shared or not shared, how data flows. It might even influence which nations get ahead in creating those foundational AI models. Could really create or widen a sort of global digital divide.
And this fits into a bigger picture, doesn't it? We also saw China interacting with the EU recently.
Right, the 50th anniversary China-EU summit.
Where President Xi Jinping apparently told EU leaders to, quote, make correct choices.
Strong language. Especially regarding trade and rare earth policies.
Those critical minerals, yeah. Essential for EVs, defense tech, everything.
And that message contrasts pretty sharply with Ursula von der Leyen, who was pushing for, balanced cooperation.
So is this China trying to pressure Europe?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, yes. It looks like part of China's broader global strategy, putting economic strategic pressure on Europe.
Trying to pull them away from aligning too closely with the U.S., perhaps?
Seems likely, particularly on tricky issues like technology access and those critical resource supply chains. It's about influence.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit, away from geopolitics, towards the global economic tightrope. Lots happening there, too.
Absolutely. Trade deals, tariffs. It's a busy time.
First up, there seemed to be some buzz, some optimism around a potential U.S.-EU trade deal.
Yeah, the markets seem hopeful. It's ahead of Ursula von der Leyen's meeting with Donald Trump up in Scotland.
And there's a deadline involved. August.
That's right. The hope is a deal could replace some potentially quite high tariffs that are looming.
Which, would have a real impact for businesses, for consumers. Could smooth things out.
It definitely could. Lower costs, easier trade flow, but...
There's always a but. Are there downsides to rushing it? To get it done by August?
Well, potentially. Rushing any complex deal might mean making concessions that maybe aren't ideal long-term, could hit certain industries harder than others, or, even create new kinds of trade imbalances down the line.
Okay, so optimism, but with caution. And speaking of deadlines, China and the U.S. are also deep in negotiations, Raider.
Correct. Vice Premier He Lifeng is heading to Stockholm July 27th to 30th, meeting U.S. officials there.
And the goal there is?
Trying to get an extension on their own tariff deadline. That one's August 12th between Beijing and Washington.
So another looming deadline. This raises an important question. How crucial are these specific talks for, say, global supply chains?
Oh, hugely important. These deadlines aren't just dates on a calendar. They matter.
What's the potential domino effect if that August 12th deadline isn't extended?
Well, think about it. An extension could ease pressure, maybe on chip manufacturers who rely on certain supply chains. But if there's no extension, tariffs kick back in.
Yeah.
That could ripple through all sorts of things. Consumer goods pricing could jump by the end of the year. It impacts electronics, cars, you name it. These high-level talks really do affect stuff on the shelves.
And it's not just the U.S., China, and EU, is it? Trade talks are happening elsewhere, too.
Definitely. South Korea, for example, Seoul is getting a new trade package ready for talks with the U.S.
What's their focus?
Shipbuilding cooperation, it seems. And they're also aiming for a deal before their tariff deadline, which is August 1st.
Wow, okay. So it really underscores how trade negotiations are just this constant, complex, global effort. Many players involved.
Absolutely. It's a nonstop process.
And with all this uncertainty, trade deadlines, economic data coming out, how are the markets reacting?
Well, global stock markets took a pause recently. They'd hit some record highs, but then kind of stalled.
Why the pause?
Investors are looking ahead to what some are calling a risk week. You've got critical economic data releases, Fed decisions coming up, and of course, all this uncertainty around the trade deadlines we just talked about.
So a general climate of caution?
Exactly. People are bracing for potential volatility. Even small shifts right now could trigger pretty big market reactions.
Okay, one more economic point before we move on. Singapore's Sovereign Wealth Fund, GIC.
Ah, yes, the GIC report.
They reported a 20-year low return, just 3.8% annualized real return. That's growth adjusted for inflation, right?
That's right. Pretty low for a fund like GIC over 2 decades.
And adding to that, there are some concerns because they've apparently scaled back on disclosing what they actually hold, their investments.
It's raised some eyebrows, less transparency.
It leads to worries about public trust, doesn't it? Even in a place like Singapore, known for stability. It brings up questions about financial transparency, investor confidence.
It certainly does. Especially for a major sovereign wealth fund, transparency is key for maintaining that trust.
Okay, so we've covered some really complex ground geopolitics, global economics. But the world isn't just about that, is it?
Not at all. There are always other significant things happening.
Let's touch on 2 more headlines. First, something important on the climate front. The International Court of Justice, the ICJ, or World Court.
They're preparing an advisory opinion.
Right. Focused on state responsibility. Basically, what countries need to do to prevent climate harm.
Now, it's important to note this opinion will be non-binding.
Meaning countries don't have to follow it legally.
Correct. But it's still really significant. Even non-binding opinions from the ICJ carry a lot of moral and legal weight. They help shape international law, international norms.
So it could influence future climate policies, or even court cases.
Absolutely. It could become a powerful reference point. It signals this growing global focus on accountability for climate change. Even if the enforcement side is still developing, it could definitely bolster climate litigation efforts around the world.
Okay, interesting. And finally, something completely different. A bit of levity, maybe.
Ah, yes. The sports headline.
From Major League Baseball. Oakland A's rookie, Nick Kurtz.
What a performance.
Unbelievable, right? Tied a Major League record. 4 home runs in 1 game.
And 19 total bases. In a blowout win against the Astros, no less.
It's just, wow. Amidst all the global complexities, you get these moments of pure human achievement, you know? Sometimes a massive sporting feat is just what you need.
You really do. It's a great reminder.
So what does this all mean? We've covered such a huge range today.
Yeah, looking back from those intense geopolitical chess matches, the really tricky balancing acts in global trade.
To that quiet but significant shift in climate accountability at the ICJ.
And then, yeah, a thrilling sports record. It really hammers home how fast the global landscape changes, and in so many different arenas at once.
It really does. And each story, even though they seem so separate, a UN clash, an AI proposal, a trade deadline, a baseball record, they all kind of weave together, don't they?
They contribute to the bigger narrative, our interconnected world.
Yeah. So maybe something for you, our listeners, to think about today. How do all these seemingly disparate headlines, the trade talks, the AI ideas, even the sports moments, How do they collectively paint this picture? This picture of a world where one event can send ripples across industries, across nations, into our daily lives.
And maybe ask yourself,
Mm.
how does understanding those connections, those ripples, empower your ability to navigate what's coming next?
That's the thought we want to leave you with after this deep dive.